Hello, 20th day of 30 days reading challenge. I am reading The Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, Part 4, page number 267. If I hadn't been for that, would you have given her the slip? I don't know what to say. I was scarcely the document restrained. It was scarcely the document restrained me. I did not want to go anywhere else. Marfa Petrovna herself invited me to go abroad, seeing I was bored. But I have been abroad before and always felt sick there, for no reason but the sunrise, the Bay of Naples, the sea. You look at them and it makes you sad. What most revolting is that one is really sad. No, it's better at home. Here at least one blames others for everything and excuses oneself. I should have gone perhaps on an expedition to the North Pole because I live in Mavis and hate drinking, and there is nothing left but wine. I have tried it, but I say I have been told Prague is going up in a great balloon next Sunday from the Yusupov Garden and will take up passengers at a fee. Is it true? Why would you go up? Uh, no, oh no, muttered Svidrigailov, really seemed to be deep in thought. What does he mean? Is earnest? Raskolnikov wondered. No, the document did not restrain me. Svidrigailov went on meditatively. It was my own doing, not leaving the country, and nearly a year ago Marfa Petrovna gave me back the document on my name day, and made me a present of a considerable sum of money too. She had a fortune, you know. You see how I trust you, Arkady Ivanovich. That was actually her expression. You don't believe she used it. But do you know I managed the estate quite decently. They know me in the neighborhood. I ordered book too. Marfa Petrovna at first approved, but afterward she was afraid of my overstudying. You seem to be missing Marfa Petrovna very much. Missing her? Perhaps. Really, perhaps I am. And by the way, do you believe in ghosts? What ghost? Why ordinary ghost? Do you believe in them? Perhaps not. Poor Willis pair. I would not say no exactly. Do you see them then? Skradkov looked at him rather oddly. Marfa Petrovna is pleased to visit me, he said, twisting his mouth into a strange smile. How do you mean she is pleased to visit you? She has been 3 times. I saw her first on the very day of the funeral, an hour after she was buried. It was the day before I left to come here. The second time was the day before yesterday, at daybreak, on the journey at the station of Malaya Visera. And the third time was 2 hours ago in the room where I am staying. I was alone. Were you awake? Quite awake. I was wide awake every time. She comes, speaks to me for a minute, and goes out of the door, always at the door. I can almost hear her. What made me think that something of the sort must be happening to you? Raskolnikov said suddenly. At the same moment he was surprised to have me said it. He was much excited. What did you think so? Skridivilov asked in astonishment. Did you really? Didn't I say that there was something in common between us? You never said so, Raskolnikov cried sharply and with heat. Didn't I? No, I thought I did. When I came in and saw you lying with your eyes shut, pretending I said to myself at once, here's the man. What do you mean by the man? What are you talking about? Cried Raskolnikov. What do I mean? I really don't know, Skripalov muttered ingeniously, as though he too were puzzled. For a minute they were silent. They stared each other's face. That's all nonsense, Raskolnikov shouted with vexation. What does she say when she comes to you? She? Would you believe it? She talks of the silliest trifles, and man in a is a strange creature. It makes me angry. The first time she came in, I was tried, the funeral service, the funeral ceremony, the lunch afterwards. At last I was left alone in my study. I lighted a cigar and began to think. She came in at the door. You have been so busy today, Arkady Ivanovich. You may have forgotten to wind the dining room clock, she said. All those 7 years I have wound that clock every week, and if I forgot, if she would always remind me. The next day I set off on my way here. I got out at the station at daybreak. I would have been asleep. I had been asleep, tried out, with my eyes half open. I was drinking some coffee. I looked up, and there was suddenly Marfa Petrovna sitting beside me, and with a pack of cards in her hand. Shall I tell you a fortune for the journey, Arkady Ivanovich? She was a great hand at telling fortunes. I shall never forgive myself for not asking her to. I ran away in a fright, and besides, the bell rang. I was sitting today, feeling very heavy after a miserable dinner from a cook shop. I was sitting, smoking all of a sudden. Marfa Petrovna again. She came in very smart in a new green silk dress with a long train. Good day, Arkady Ivanovich. How do you like my dress? Aniska can't make like this. Aniska was a dressmaker in the country, one of our former serfs who had been trained in Moscow, a pretty wench. She stood turning round before me. I looked at the dress and then I looked carefully, very carefully at her face. I wonder you trouble to come to me about such trifles. Marfa Petrovna, good gracious, you won't let me disturb you about anything. I tease her, I said. I want to get married, Marfa Petrovna. That is just like you, Arkady Ivanovich. It does you it does you very little credit to come looking for a bride when you have hardly buried your wife. And if you could make a good choice at least, but I know it won't be for your happiness or hers. You will only be a laughing stock to all good people. Then she went out and her train seemed to rustle. Isn't it nonsense, sir? But perhaps you are telling lies, Raskolnikov put in. I really lie, answered Skibidilov thoughtfully, apparently noticed the rudeness of the question. And in the past, have you ever seen ghosts before? Yeah, yes, I have seen them, but only once in my life, 6 years ago. I had a surf filka. Just after his burial, I called out forgetting. Filka, my pipe. He came in and went to the cupboard where my pipes were. I sat still and thought, he is doing it out of revenge, because we had a violent quarrel just before his death. How dare you come in with a hole in your elbow? I said. Go away, you scamp. He turned and went out, and never came again. I didn't tell Marfa Petrovna at the time. I wanted to have a service sung for him, but I was ashamed. You should go to a doctor. I know I am not well, without your telling me. Though I don't know what's wrong. I believe I am 5 times as strong as you are. I did not ask you whether you believe that ghosts are seen, but whether you believe that they exist. No, I won't believe it, Raskolnikov cried, with positive anger. What do people generally say? Muttered Skribdilov, and though speaking to himself, looking aside and bowing his head, they say you are ill. So what appears to you is only a real fantasy, but that's not strictly logical. I agree that ghosts only appear to the sick, but that only proves that they are unable to appear except to the sick, not that they don't exist. Nothing of the sort, Raskolnikov insisted irritably. No, you don't think so, Skridelov went on, looking at him deliberately. But what do you say to this argument? Help me with it. Ghosts are, as it were, shells and fragments of the other worlds, the beginning of them. A man in health has, of course, no reason to see them, because he is above all men of this earth, and is bound for the sake of complete death, in order to live only in this life. But as soon as one is ill, as soon as the earthly order of the organism is broken, one begins to realize the possibility of another, and the more seriously ill one is, the more closer becomes one's contact with what with that other world, so that as soon as the man dies, he steps straight into the world. I thought of that long ago. If you believe it, if you believe in a future life, you could believe in that too. I don't believe in a future life, said Raskolnikov. Skibidi said, lost in thought. And what if there are only spiders there, or something of that sort? He said suddenly. He is a madman, thought Raskolnikov. We always imagine eternity as something beyond our conceptions, something vast, vast. But why must it be vast? Instead of all that, what if it is a little room, like a bathhouse in the country, black and gloomy, and spiders in every corner, and that's all eternity is? I sometimes fancy it like that. Can it be you? Can it be you? Can imagine nothing juster and more confronting than that? Raskolnikov cried with a feeling of anguish. Juster? And how can we tell perhaps that is just? And do you know and do you know it's what I would certainly have made it, answered Svidilog with a vague smile. This horrible answer sent a cold chill through Raskolnikov. Svidilov raised her head, looked at him, and suddenly began laughing. Only think, he cried. Half an hour ago we had never seen each other. We regarded each other as enemies. There is a matter unsettled between us. We have thrown it aside and away. We have gone into the abstract. Wasn't I right saying that we were birds of a feather? Kindly allow me, Raskolnikov went on irritably, to ask you to explain why you have honored me with your visit. And I am in a hurry. I have no time to waste. I want to go out. By all means. Your sister, Avodotia Romanova, is going to be married to Mr. Luzhin Peter Petrovich. Can you refrain from my question about my sister and from mentioning her name? I can't understand how you dare utter her name in my presence. If you really are Skibidilovs. Why, but I have come here to speak about her. How can I avoid mentioning her? Very good, speak, but make haste. I am sure that you must have formed your own opinion of Mr. Luzuhin, who is a connection of mine through my wife. If you have only seen him half an hour or heard any facts about him, he is no match for Avoditya Romanova. I believe Avoditya Romanova is sacrificing herself generously and imprudently for the sake of her family. I fancied from all I had heard of you that you would be very glad if the match could be broken off without the sacrifice of worldly advantages. Now I know you personally, I am convinced of it. All this is very naive. Excuse me, I should have said imprudent on your part, said Raskolnikov. You mean to say that I am seeking my own ends? Don't be uneasy, Radion Romanovich. If I were working for my own advantage, I would not have spoken out so directly. I am not quite a fool. I will confess something psychologically curious about it. Just now, defending my love for Avoditya Romanova, I said I was myself the victim. Well, tell me, let me tell you that I have no feeling of love now, not the slightest. So that I wonder myself, indeed, for I really did feel something. Through idleness and depravity, Raskolnikov put it, I certainly am idle and depraved. But your sister has such qualities that even I could not help being impressed by them. But that's all nonsense, as I see myself now. Have you been that long? I began to be aware of it before. It was only perfectly sure of it the day before yesterday. Almost at the moment I arrived in Petersburg, I still fancied in Moscow, though, that I was coming to try to get Avudja Romanovan's head, and to cut out Mr. Lozovin. Excuse me for interrupting you. Kindly be brief and come to the object of your visit. I am in a hurry. I want to go out with the greatest pleasure, or arriving here and determining on a certain journey. I should like to make some necessary preliminary arrangements. I left my children with an aunt. They are well provided for, and they have no need of me personally. And a nice father I should make too. I have taken nothing but what Marfa Petrovna gave me a year ago. That's enough for me. Excuse me, I am just coming to the point. Before the journey, which may off, I want to settle Mr. Rozovin too. It is not that I detest him so much, but it was through him I quarrelled with Marfa Petrovna when I learned that she had dished up with this marriage. I want to know to see Avodya Romanovna through your mediations, and if you like in your presence to explain her that in the first place she will never gain anything but harm from Mr. Lusuhin. Then giving her pardon for all past unpleasantness to make her a present of 10,000 rupees, and so assist her rapture with Mr. Lusuhin, a rapture to which I believe she is herself not disinclined, if she could see the way to it.